The training hall smelled like recycled air and desperation. Typical human scent, if you asked me. I stood at the edge of the sparring circle, watching Instructor Vex'thor parade around like he owned the entire Galactic Defense Academy. Which, to be fair, he kind of did. The Kralix were known throughout 17 systems for their combat prowess, their 4 arms capable of striking from angles that would make geometry teachers weep. Vex'thor was 7 feet of scaled muscle and arrogance, and he loved reminding everyone of it. Especially the humans. Pathetic. His voice boomed across the training floor, echoing off the metal walls. You soft-skinned weaklings call this combat readiness? I have seen hatchlings with more spine. The other cadets, a mix of species from across the Alliance, kept their heads down. Nobody wanted to be his next example. I flexed my secondary limbs nervously, grateful that my species, the Quillen, rarely drew his attention. We were observers by nature, record keepers, and analysts. Perfect for watching train wrecks unfold. And boy, was I about to witness one. Enter Corporal Maya Cross. She walked into the hall exactly 3 minutes late, her boots clicking against the floor with the kind of confidence that made you wonder if she knew something everyone else didn't. Her dark hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, her uniform crisp despite the morning's previous training sessions. She was small by human standards, maybe 5'4", but she moved like coiled wire. Vex'thor's eyes, all 3 of them, locked onto her immediately. Well, well, well. He crossed all 4 arms, a grin splitting his reptilian face. The human decides to grace us with her presence. Tell me, Cross, is punctuality not a concept your primitive species understands? Maya stopped at the edge of the mat, her face blank. Apologize, sir. Medical required additional scans after yesterday's neural training. Medical. He drew out the word like it tasted bad. Of course. You fragile creatures need constant maintenance, don't you? Like faulty machinery. A few nervous laughs rippled through the crowd. I noticed several cadets avoiding eye contact, including 2 other humans. They knew what was coming. We all did. Vex'thor loved his demonstrations. Step onto the mat, Corporal. It wasn't a request. Maya's jaw tightened, just slightly. You had to be watching closely to catch it. She moved forward, taking her position in the sparring circle. The energy field hummed to life around them, a safety measure that would prevent lethal damage. Theoretically. Today's lesson, Vex'thor announced, circling her like a predator, is about knowing your limitations. Some species, like the Kralix, are born warriors. Others. He gestured dismissively at Maya. Are born to serve in support roles. There is no shame in accepting one's natural inferiority. With respect, sir, Maya said, her voice level, I disagree. Oh no. Oh, sweet Nebula, no. The hall went silent. You could have heard a pin drop in a vacuum. Vex'thor's scales rippled, a sign of amusement. Or fury. Sometimes both. You disagree? How delightful. Then perhaps you would care to demonstrate your supposed equality? He moved faster than something his size had any right to move. One massive hand shot out, open-palmed, aimed straight at Maya's face. It was a testing strike, designed to humiliate rather than injure. The kind of slap that would send her sprawling, prove his point, and give him a story to laugh about in the officers' mess for weeks. The crack echoed through the hall like a gunshot. Maya's head snapped to the side, her cheek already reddening. She staggered back 2 steps, blinking hard. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Lesson 1, Vex'thor said, rotating his shoulders. Pain is a teacher. Do you understand now, human? For a moment, she just stood there, hand touching her face. Several cadets shifted uncomfortably. I saw Lieutenant Krell, our Dravian ethics instructor, start to move forward, then stop. This was Vex'thor's hall. His rules. Then Maya smiled. It was not a nice smile. Yeah, she said quietly, rolling her neck with a series of small pops. I understand perfectly, sir. She took a breath, centering herself, and I realized something that made my dorsal ridge go cold. She was happy about this. Second lesson, Vex'thor said, raising all 4 fists. Know when you are outmatched. Yield now, and we will speak no more of your impertinence. Maya settled into a stance I didn't recognize. Low, balanced, weight on the balls of her feet. Her hands came up, relaxed but ready. I respectfully decline, sir. Vex'thor lunged. What happened next took approximately 2.3 seconds. I know because my species has exceptional time perception, and I have replayed this moment in my mind approximately 4,000 times since. Vex'thor's first strike, a powerful right cross from his primary arm, cut through the air where Maya's head had been. She wasn't there anymore. She had slipped inside his reach, impossibly close, and her hand, her small human hand, shot upward like a striking serpent. Palm strike. Directly under his jaw. Vex'thor's head snapped back, his 3 eyes going wide with shock. But Maya wasn't finished. She pivoted, using his own forward momentum against him, her leg sweeping behind his knee while her other hand found a pressure point on his side that made him gasp. Then she pushed. 7 feet and 400 pounds of Kralix Instructor went down like a sack of grain, hitting the mat with a thunderous crash that made the energy field flicker. Maya followed him down, maintaining control, her knee pressing against a nerve cluster in his back, her hand twisted in his collar in a position that, if she pulled, would compress his primary breathing passage. Complete silence. Then Vex'thor wheezed, yield. Maya held the position for exactly 1 second longer, just to make her point, then released him and stood up. She offered him a hand, which he ignored, rolling to his feet with as much dignity as a humiliated instructor could muster. Where, he gasped, massaging his throat, did you learn that technique? Maya's smile grew wider. Earth, sir. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Mixed with a little Krav Maga. We soft-skinned weaklings have to get creative. I watched Vex'thor's face cycle through approximately 15 different emotions before settling on something between grudging respect and absolute fury. This was going to get very, very interesting. The training hall remained frozen in that moment, like someone had hit pause on reality itself. Everyone stared at Maya Cross, the human who had just turned our supposedly invincible combat instructor into a floor decoration. Vex'thor straightened, his scales flushing a dark purple that I'd learned meant either extreme embarrassment or pre-homicide rage. Possibly both. He worked his jaw, testing it, and I could practically hear his pride shattering into tiny, irreparable pieces. Interesting, he finally said, his voice dangerously quiet. You managed 1 lucky strike, human. Shall we continue, or would you prefer to quit while you still possess functional limbs? Maya wiped the blood from her lip with the back of her hand, never breaking eye contact. Your call, sir. But if we're keeping score, I believe that puts me ahead by 1. I heard someone, probably Cadet Thorn from engineering, make a strangled choking sound that might have been a suppressed laugh. Bad move. Vex'thor's middle eye swiveled toward the sound, and Thorn suddenly became very interested in his boots. New scenario, Vex'thor announced, loud enough for the entire hall. Full combat. No holds barred within safety parameters. Since Corporal Cross believes herself so capable, let us see how long she lasts. Lieutenant Krell stepped forward, his concern finally overriding protocol. Instructor Vex'thor, perhaps we should stay out of this, Krell. Vex'thor snapped. The corporal agreed to this demonstration, didn't you, Cross? Maya glanced at Krell, then back at Vex'thor. She knew exactly what was happening here. This wasn't about training anymore. This was about a wounded ego and revenge. Every person in that hall understood it. And yet. Affirmative, sir, Maya said. I'm ready when you are. Kralix's antennae drooped in resignation. He moved back to the sidelines, but I noticed he kept his communicator in hand. Smart. Someone might need medical very soon. Vex'thor began circling again, but this time there was no showmanship, no theatrical gestures. All 4 arms were up, his stance professional and deadly. The first exchange had been a test, a casual swat meant to intimidate. This was serious. Begin, he roared, and exploded forward. The Kralix fighting style relies on overwhelming force and multiple striking angles. Vex'thor demonstrated this beautifully, all 4 fists launching attacks in rapid sequence. High, low, middle, sweeping. Each strike capable of breaking bones if it connected. Maya became water. That's the only way I can describe it. She flowed between the attacks, her small size suddenly an advantage as she slipped under a cross, ducked a hook, redirected a jab with minimal contact. She was reading him, learning his patterns in real time. Stand still and fight. Vex'thor snarled, frustration bleeding into his voice. Why? Maya asked, breathless but focused. You're doing great hitting air, sir. Excellent form. Oh, this human had a death wish. Vex'thor roared, a sound that made several cadets jump, and changed tactics. He lunged low, attempting to grapple, to use his mass advantage. If he got hold of her, this fight was over. Maya saw it coming. Instead of retreating, she did something absolutely insane. She moved closer, into the grab, but angled her body just right so his arms passed on either side of her. Then she jumped, using his bent posture as leverage, and wrapped her legs around his thick neck from behind. What the? Vex'thor spun, trying to throw her off, but Maya locked her ankles and squeezed. Triangle choke. I'd seen the technique in human combat databases, but watching it live was something else entirely. Vex'thor's eyes bulged. His hands, all 4 of them, reached back trying to grab her, but she controlled the angle, staying just out of reach. His face shifted from purple to a concerning shade of blue. 10 seconds. 15. 20. Tap out, sir, Maya said, her voice strained from the effort. You know you have to tap out. Vex'thor's pride fought his oxygen deprivation for another 5 seconds. Pride lost. His hand slapped against her leg 3 times in rapid succession. Universal tap-out signal. Maya released immediately, dropping to the mat as Vex'thor collapsed to his hands and knees, gasping. The energy field powered down with a soft whine. Medical alarms beeped, sensors detecting his elevated stress levels. Krell rushed over with a medkit, but Vex'thor waved him away, still coughing. I'm fine. He wasn't fine. His legendary reputation definitely wasn't fine. The look on his face suggested he was reconsidering every life choice that had led him to this moment. Maya stood at attention, waiting. Blood still trickled from her split lip, and I could see bruises already forming on her arms from the strikes she'd blocked, but she maintained perfect military bearing. The hall remained silent. Nobody knew what happened next. Would Vex'thor explode? Report her for insubordination? Challenge her to a duel to the death? Then something unexpected occurred. Vex'thor started laughing. It began as a wheeze, then grew into full, genuine laughter that echoed off the walls. He pushed himself to his feet, rubbing his throat, and looked at Maya with what I can only describe as respect. 23 years, he said, shaking his head. 23 years I have instructed at this academy. Thousands of cadets. Dozens of species. And not once, has anyone put me on that mat twice in one session. He stepped closer to Maya, extending one massive hand. I underestimated you, Corporal Cross. A mistake I will not repeat. Maya hesitated for only a moment before accepting the handshake. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. His grin turned wicked. Because now I know what you're capable of, and I will train you accordingly. Every single day. The color drained slightly from Maya's face. Oh. Indeed. Oh. Vex'thor turned to address the hall, his voice booming once more. New lesson for all of you. Never, and I mean never, assume you know an opponent's capabilities based on appearance, size, or species. This human, who I foolishly dismissed as weak, just handed me my tail on a platter. He looked back at Maya. How did your people develop such techniques? Maya shrugged, wincing slightly. We're kind of squishy and breakable, sir. We had to learn how to fight smarter, not harder. When you can't rely on natural armor or multiple limbs, you get creative. You use leverage, momentum, pressure points. You make the opponent's strength work against them. Necessity breeds innovation, Krell observed, his antennae perking up with interest. Fascinating. Terrifying, I muttered to Cadet Morse, a fellow Quillan beside me. They weaponized being weak. Not weak, Morse corrected. Adaptable. There's a difference. Vex'thor clapped all four hands together, the sound like a thunderclap. Corporal Cross, you will assist me in developing new hand-to-hand protocols. We will integrate these human techniques into our standard training. Maya blinked. Sir, I'm still just a cadet. Surely there are more qualified. Are there? Vex'thor gestured at the mat where he'd spent a good portion of the last few minutes being decorative. You just defeated a Kralix combat master. Twice. I think you're qualified. Unless you'd prefer latrine duty instead? Training assistant sounds perfect, sir. Excellent. He addressed the hall again. Dismissed. Except you, Cross. We have curriculum to discuss. And get that lip looked at. Can't have my new assistant bleeding on the training mats. As the cadets filed out, I heard whispers everywhere. The story would spread through the academy within hours. The human who humbled Vex'thor. The tiny cadet who proved size didn't matter. I passed by Maya as she grabbed her gear, and caught her eye. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever witnessed, I told her. She grinned, despite her swollen lip. Why not both? Fair point. As I left the training hall, one thought dominated my mind. Humans. They showed up to the galactic stage smaller, weaker, and squishier than most species. No natural weapons, no armored hides, no redundant organs. And somehow, that just made them more dangerous. Note to self, never, ever underestimate a human. Especially the small ones. They're creative like that. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.